Hi, this is Liza from Digging Cat Homestead, and today I'm going to make a fruit puree from fruits that grow on our homestead to flavor some kombucha. And when you flavor kombucha, you are starting a second fermentation of the kombucha, which carbonates it in the bottles. You let that second fermentation happen for about 3 days, and then you pop your flavored kombucha into the refrigerator. Here we have some starfruit, some juiced starfruit, a beautiful fragrant guava, and some kumquats. All right, let's do it. Now my kombucha is a little darker than usual for its first fermentation because I use organic brown sugar or panela to make my kombucha. If it isn't organic non-GMO, it isn't used in my kitchen. The tea that I use is Twinings black tea, which is also organic non-GMO. And our fruits, of course, we grow without any pesticides, and all of these fruits are non-GMO.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about why you should even bother making kombucha. Well, if you're on a kombucha regimen to help out your skin or improve your digestion and other things like that, which I am, store-bought kombucha can get really expensive. One bottle of GTs will put you down about $4. Now, if you make your own kombucha, you could have bottles and bottles of this wonderful, tasty probiotic for pennies on the dollar. Making kombucha tea is easy. What you need is a gallon jar fermenter, piece of cloth to cover the opening of the jar. You'll need to make a batch of concentrated sweet black tea. You will need a cup of sugar per gallon. Once your tea has cooled, you pour it into your gallon jar fermenter, and then you inoculate the tea with some store-bought kombucha. I prefer using GTs because I know that it's organic and raw and unpasteurized. You can use flavored kombucha or unflavored kombucha to create your SCOBY. I made my first SCOBY with flavored GT's kombucha. Then you let it sit in a dark area for a week, and then after a week you could taste your kombucha for sourness. When it reaches the sourness level that you want, it's ready for second fermentation, meaning it's ready to add to bottles with your favorite fruit purees. After 3 days in the bottle with the fruit purees, your kombucha will carbonate. Okay, so let's make this puree. Let's put in my kumquats. I'm gonna put in starfruit, and let's put in this guava. I'm gonna add a little bit of starfruit juice. These are starfruits that were juiced from my mother's garden. So now we're going to fill sanitized bottle with this liquid, and then we're gonna top it off with my kombucha. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is prime my kombucha bottles with my guava, starfruit, and kumquat puree. Now, bottle selection for kombucha is very, very important, especially if you're trying to carbonate your kombucha, which we are. You really do need to either invest in high quality bottles that can handle carbonation. You gotta make sure that these high quality bottles are round and don't have any sharp edges, because sharp edge bottles, square bottles, cubish bottles will create pressure points for the carbon dioxide to push up against, and you may get an exploding bottle in that situation. Purchase a high quality bottle that can handle carbonation, like these, or like this. Or if you're already an avid kombucha drinker, like I am, keep all of your store-bought kombucha bottles. This is a GT kombucha bottle. I've never had a problem with these bottles at all. You can trust them 100%. I've even had kombucha carbonating in a cabinet for weeks without refrigeration in these bottles. You'll see the cap dome a little bit, but I've not had any explosions. These are really, really good bottles. Okay, so now let's prime our bottles with the fruit puree. Now I'm going to add some more juiced starfruit to each bottle. Starfruit makes a great base juice for kombucha. because it can combine very well with any other type of fruit. In this case, it complements the guava and the kumquats very well. Okay, so now all of our bottles are primed with fruit puree and fruit juice, and that means that the yeast in the kombucha tea will eat the sugars in these fruit juices and then expel carbon dioxide as a byproduct of that process. Okay, so now we're going to fill each bottle with our kombucha fermented tea. Now, before scooping in my kombucha tea into my bottles, I'm going to stir the tea to make sure that the yeast that's settled somewhere in the bottom of the container is now spread out throughout the liquid. And if you forget to do this, your kombucha drink, your flavored kombucha will be flat. The first batch I've made of kombucha was flat because I did not stir my tea before bottling it. So we need to access the yeast in this solution, and you need to do that by stirring it a bit. Now, if you find that you let your kombucha tea ferment for too long, you forget about it, and it gets really sour, then you may not get carbonation in your second fermentation process. What you could do to carbonate a kombucha that is very strong is to simply mix your fruit puree with activated yeast. Just a little bit, you don't need a lot, and that should be enough to get a carbonated product. All right, so let us begin. Stir around my SCOBY discs and get all that precious yeast evenly spread out in the liquid. Now it's time to pour it into my bottles. Here we go. Yes, Jojo. Jojo's complaining because I won't let him out. It's raining outside. I don't want him to get wet. But he insists on going outside anyway. So he's not very happy with me at the moment. Bottle. Now I'm going to leave some headroom in this bottle. I don't like filling my bottle all the way to the top. I like leaving the neck without any liquid in it. I like to over carbonate my kombucha, which means I like to leave it stored in a cabinet in the dark without moving it for longer than 3 days. But if you like to over carbonate your kombucha, that is when you pop open your bottle, you see lots and lots of beautiful frothy goodness. You really do need to leave some headroom so that you have a chance at spraying all that beautiful bubbly goodness into a glass or a cup without getting it all over the place. I left the neck with no liquid, and now it's ready to cap and to store. Kombucha is a great alternative to fizzy drinks loaded with high fructose corn syrup and other stuff, because kombucha is delicious. Really, if it wasn't delicious, I would have never gotten into it. I really do love the flavor of kombucha. You're not going to miss your soda when you get on kombucha. Trust me. I haven't had a Coke in months, and I used to love Coca-Cola. You want to make sure that there's no liquid on the mouth of the bottle and that your screw top is clean before capping your reused GT's kombucha bottles, because it will be nearly impossible to open if these things are not clean. And even then, you have to run the top of your capped bottle in running hot water and then tap on it a bit to open. Something that I want to do with some of these SCOBYs that are in here is start a batch of June. That is kombucha made with honey and green tea rather than with sugar and black tea. So stay tuned for that video. I'm excited to make a batch of June because, at least where I live, sourcing raw honey is very, very easy. Whereas sourcing organic brown sugar and panela isn't so easy. Now I'm gonna put my little SCOBY hotel back in the dark. We're going to clean off and label the bottles and store them. Okay, so here are my beautifully cleaned and labeled bottles of homemade kombucha. I like to label my bottles using painter's tape because I hate delabeling bottles, and this comes off super easy without leaving a residue. And I'm pretty proud of myself because had I bought this many bottles of kombucha in the store, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm going to count the big GT's bottle as 2 bottles, so 8, 9. Had I bought 9 bottles of kombucha at the supermarket at $4 a piece, I would have spent at least $36. And I got this for pennies on the dollar because I'm using reusable bottles. I have a SCOBY hotel and a fermenter that I use over and over again. And so the only thing that I need to do to make a new batch is buy some organic black tea and organic brown sugar or panela.
All right, so these guys will be doing their secondary fermentation in this cabinet for at least 3 days. I will pop them into the refrigerator 24 hours before opening so that I don't get a kombucha volcano happening on me. So let's wait a few days and take a look at the final product. Hi, this is Liza from Digging Cat Homestead, and it's been 3 days since this guy's been fermenting in the cabinet, so we're gonna see if our guava kumquat starfruit kombucha is nicely carbonated. Let's take a look. That's promising. Yeah, so after 3 days, it's lightly carbonated. I'm going to leave a few bottles in the cabinet for a few more days to see if we can get it super carbonated. Oh yeah, that is super carbonated. Ooh, you lucky person, you. Wow. Ooh. Ooh. Super carbonated. That's delicious.
Hi, this is Liza from Digging Cat Homestead. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more homesteading adventures.